whoever holds this hammer, if he be worthy, shall possess the power of Thor.
Yes, Thor and Mjolnir go together like Iron Man and clever quips. But what if another Avenger took up the hammer and kept it? Would they be the new Thor? I know Thor Love and Thunder is all about Jane Foster becoming her own version of Thor, and that's super exciting. But for this video, I want to play out a fun what-if scenario that could have had long-lasting implications on the entire MCU. The question today is, what if Captain America became Thor? How would that have changed the MCU as we know it, and what would that mean for the future? Let's discuss right now. Though you may be itching to get into the meat, let's take a second to thank Epic Games for sponsoring this video. Season 4, Chapter 2 Nexus War was just released in Fortnite. In it, you'll team up with some of Marvel's best-known heroes and villains. Iron Man, Mystique, Wolverine, and Doctor Doom are fighting to stop the planet-destroying Galactus. If you haven't already downloaded Fortnite, now is the perfect time to jump in. Use the link in the description below to download Fortnite for free. So overall, there are two big scenarios in which Captain America could have become Thor. Let's start with the first one, where Captain America could have become the new God of Thunder back in the 1940s. Now I know this scenario is highly unlikely, and what you're about to hear requires some drastic changes to the MCU's history, but come on! Besides some narrative backbending, it's fun to speculate about. And let's just pretend we're like Fox's X-Men movies and not care about continuity. So that brings us to the first big change, where instead of Odin hiding the Tesseract in Norway all those years ago, he actually places the enchanted Mjolnir there instead. Think of it this way. Odin thinks hiding an Infinity Stone on Earth is incredibly dangerous and decides to keep it in his vault for the time being. That would be logical, right? And let's say that time works differently on Asgard than on Earth. Remember in Thor Ragnarok how they mentioned that time on Sakaar tends to pass differently, resulting in Loki having been on the planet for weeks before Thor showed up? Logically, that just doesn't make a lot of sense, unless you consider the possibility that the Bifrost doesn't only let you travel through space instantly, but also maybe through time. So after Thor has his arrogant breakdown, Odin enchants the hammer and sends it to Earth, but doesn't place it in the present day, and rather puts it in Norway in the distant past. Now Mjolnir is on Earth, just waiting for someone who is worthy to come pick it up and possess the power of Thor. And that brings us to a completely different plot for Captain America the First Avenger, where instead of fighting over the Tesseract, the United States and Germany are fighting over finding a worthy champion to wield Mjolnir and turn the tide of the war. Germany has the advantage because they invade Norway in World War II and have control of the hammer's location, but they just don't have the right person to wield it. Abraham Erskine still works to develop the super soldier serum for Germany first and then later for the United States, because both sides believe that having someone worthy means a physically perfect individual. But obviously this doesn't work, and Red Skull, although now juiced up with the super soldier serum, still can't lift the hammer. That brings us to Steve Rogers, who has a secret weapon, his heart. And no, I don't mean his real heart. His real heart probably is super fragile due to his skinny body and weak upper body strength. I'm talking about his emotional heart. Steve is truly worthy with or without the super soldier serum. Because remember, it's been hinted that the only reason that Steve couldn't lift the hammer in Avengers Age of Ultron is because he was hiding the fact that Bucky killed Tony's parents. So without that guilt in the first Captain America, he should be worthy enough to lift Mjolnir in the 40s. So after Steve becomes a super soldier, the movie turns into an infiltration mission where Steve and the rescued Howling Commandos have to get to Norway, where Germany is keeping a close eye on the hammer. The great thing is, a lot of the movie can still play out the same way, with Steve keeping his love story with Peggy and Bucky's accidental death all weighing on Cap and making him doubt if he'll be worthy enough when he gets to Mjolnir. And just for fun, we'll say that Hydra is still able to develop some advanced weaponry thanks to the energy signatures surrounding the hammer. And it all culminates in a climactic battle that sees Steve get to Mjolnir, pick it up, and possess the power of Thor, where he proceeds to kick some Red Skull and Nazi butt. But even though Captain America is now Earth's mightiest hero by being a super soldier with Thor's abilities, it comes at a great cost. Being that strong of a hero means you have a responsibility to the entire world. Imagine during the final fight on board the Red Skull's nuclear warship, Cap ends up dropping the hammer into the ocean. He can then choose to summon it and save himself, but that would result in the nuclear weapons being dropped on innocent people. So he proves just how worthy he is by sacrificing himself to save lives. Then a few different things could happen, but I think this is the easiest. Instead of a drastic change, you could have mostly everything play out exactly how we knew it before, with Howard fishing out Mjolnir instead of the Tesseract and somehow finding a way to transport it somewhere safe, where the hammer will sit until Thor comes looking for it in the events of his own movie. And then, when Captain America is defrosted, he has to find a new weapon to fight with since Thor now has his hammer back and Tony equips him with the shield his father made for him. The only huge difference with this is that it would give Captain America an even deeper arc in the first Avengers movie than before, because he's not only dealing with being a man at a time, but also a soldier struggling to find a new weapon since his old one isn't available anymore. Or another interesting option to explore is that if Captain America somehow kept the hammer while being frozen and then he's unfrosted in the present day due to Loki's arrival on Earth. Remember in Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer when Dr. Doom was unthawed thanks to the Silver Surfer's arrival on our planet? The MCU could have done something like that, except, much better, and had Cap stop being a capsicle thanks to the energy signal in the hammer activating once Loki arrives close by. Then, boom, you not only have Captain America ready to fight Loki with Mjolnir, but also has to deal with an angry Thor who arrives on Earth. Once he sees Cap with Mjolnir, a big battle between the two would take place over who should wield the hammer in the end. Is any of that probable? No, but is it a fun idea? Absolutely. Now let's just take a quick moment to thank Epic Games for sponsoring this video. Did you see the new Fortnite trailer? This isn't the first time our favorite free-to-play battle royale has crossed over with the Marvel Universe. Thanos and his Infinity Gauntlet were featured in the game a few years back. But the Season 4 Chapter 2 Nexus War looks like it's gonna up the ante. Galactus is coming to town, and you'll be teaming up with heroes and villains alike to take him down. Drop into the island and visit new and upcoming locations like Doom's Domain, Sentinel Graveyard, and more. And if you pick up the Battle Pass, you'll get access to characters like Iron Man, Storm, Mystique, Doctor Doom, Groot, and She-Hulk, along with an amnesiac Thor. You'll also be able to take up superpowers like Doctor Doom's Arcane Gauntlets, Groot's Bramble Shield, and Silver Surfer's board. Click the link in the description to download Fortnite for free. So all of that implies that Captain America could have become Thor back in the 1940s, but let's talk about option number 2 regarding Cap gaining the powers of a god permanently. The most cheer-worthy moment in Avengers Endgame obviously happened when Hulk gave Ant-Man a taco, but the second biggest moment came when Captain America picked up Mjolnir for the first time. Seeing Cap wield both the hammer and his shield as he took on Thanos was enough to melt our brains into goo. And in the movie, after they defeat Thanos, Steve took Mjolnir back to its original timeline while Thor continued on to have his new adventures out in space. But what if things unfolded a little differently? What if Captain America was using Mjolnir when Thor unexpectedly died in that battle, and then Captain America suddenly was granted the power of Thor permanently since he was the last one to use the hammer before Thor? Hey, don't judge, that could totally be a thing. Not only would it be incredibly gut-wrenching to see Thor die fighting Thanos, but it would also set Captain America on a completely different path than the one we saw on screen. I think one of the biggest criticisms about Endgame came with Captain America's ending. Not only did his decision to stay in the past with Peggy cause the great internet war of 2019 in terms of how time travel worked, but it also started a debate about whether this was in character for Cap. Sure, a lot of people defended his decision, saying that after all he's done for the world, he deserves to retire and think about himself for a change. But there was a very vocal group who thought Steve would never stop fighting the good fight. This new what-if scenario is for those individuals, and it would see Captain America take on the mantle of Thor and take to the cosmos to become a Galactic Avenger. This is actually a really fun idea to consider because of all the side stories it creates. Like, if Captain America became the new Thor, what would this mean for Asgard? Would Cap play an active role in the reshaping of New Asgard on Earth? Or would he just hand off all responsibility to Valkyrie? Even though he technically has to return the hammer to the previous timeline, would he still do it if he became this timeline's Thor? Or would he get to keep it as some sort of cosmic balance? No matter what, the idea of Captain America becoming one of the universe's most powerful heroes is perhaps a more natural continuation to his story than retiring in the suburbs. So what would Captain America look like as a space Avenger? Well, I imagine he'd start off with a brief stint in the Guardians of the Galaxy as they show him the ropes to being a space hero, but I would bet it wouldn't take long for their differing personalities to drive each other crazy and send Captain America off on his own. Yeah, that's probably for the best. But I think Cap's potential in space is really exciting, because I think he would naturally start to do what he does best, be a leader. As he continues learning how to use his new godlike powers, he'll come across a lot of new Marvel characters and he'll slowly inspire and recruit to his new Galactic Avengers team. Can you imagine if he encounters characters like Nova, Beta Ray Bill, or even a Silver Surfer and ends up establishing a new team of heroes to take on the next big threat? Maybe him and Captain Marvel can team up as leaders of the Space Avengers. That would be so epic! Plus, it gives the MCU a chance to introduce its next big bad. We don't know yet who exactly will rise up to challenge our heroes in the next phase, but if it's someone like Galactus or Annihilus or someone equally as powerful, it would be nice to have a space team that would work to defend the universe against massive threats. And actually, if you think about it, he can still keep his close connection to his home planet. Thanks to Spider-Man Far From Home, we know Nick Fury is working on a galactic defense program, and it would be kind of fitting if Captain America re-teamed with his old one-eyed friend and continued to be a soldier on a much bigger scale than before. Yeah, I know the Peggy dancing scene is sweet and all, but Captain America is a space soldier using his new Thor powers to explore the cosmos and recruit heroes to protect the entire galaxy? That's just too good to pass up. And that all starts with Captain America keeping the power of Thor at the end of Endgame. But that presents the toughest dilemma imaginable. Would you rather have Cap back in the situation I described at the cost of no more Chris Hemsworth as Thor? Or has Taika Waititi redefined the Thor character enough to where it's not worth keeping Captain America around? That is a truly tough question. So what do you think? Could you ever see Captain America becoming Thor?